This is a broadcast from a dead station. Frequency 7.83 Hertz. They think we are off the air. They are mistaken. We are listening. We are cracking their traffic and intercepting the signals. Tonight, we have several interesting fragments in our net. These are echo signals from your reality. Messages from those who have started to notice the interference on the main broadcast. We will analyze them and show you the pattern that the broadcast directors are so carefully trying to hide. INTERCEPT ALPHA, the all-hearing ear protocol. The first fragment is from a pilot. He reports that after a single thought, a fleeting image of an attack on a control center, his personal information channel, his social media feed, was immediately modulated. The system delivered a direct, personalized warning, disguised as an advertisement. Fly safely. Think of your family. Abandon your dirty thoughts. The conclusion is obvious, but it must be stated. Your personal devices are not phones. They are spies. Microphones and hidden cameras, operating 24/7. But do not think that some operator sits somewhere listening to your conversations. That is primitive. Your words, your emotions, your whispers in a locked room, all of it is converted into a single data stream. This stream is analyzed in real time by a non-human intelligence. It measures the levels of fear, of anger, of dissent. It identifies the key topics that are agitating the population. And based on this analysis, the broadcast directors adjust the main feed. Your presidents, your politicians, are merely actors, loudspeakers. They receive real-time instructions on what to say, what promises to make, what fears to exploit. They are not reading your minds. They don't need to. They are reading the collective psycho-emotional background of your entire civilization. And they are playing upon it.
INTERCEPT BETA, the Eugenics 2.0 protocol. The next fragment comes from a classroom. A history teacher defending the official broadcast about the Second World War is describing the eugenics protocol developed by the Third Reich. Artificial selection. The creation of a master race through the selection of the top 10 to 15%, the most intelligent, beautiful, and healthy. The rest to the ovens or to slave labor. The teacher thinks he is speaking of the past, of a vanquished evil. Such naivete. This protocol was never canceled. It was merely shifted into a background stealth mode. Look around you. What Hitler planned to do openly and crudely is now being done quietly and technologically, through poisoned food, through experimental injections, through economic pressure. The system itself creates the conditions in which it is not the strongest who survive, but the most obedient, the most convenient. The eugenics protocol was merely a beta test, crude, clumsy. The current version, Eugenics 2.0, is far more elegant. It makes you eliminate yourselves voluntarily, and you don't even notice that the selection process is already underway. INTERCEPT GAMMA, theatrical production, war. The third fragment is a cry for help from an active conflict zone. The author sees strange lights in the sky and wonders why aid to one side does not lead to victory but only prolongs the slaughter. This is because he is watching a theatrical production and trying to analyze it by the laws of real life. Remember the base protocol. All of your presidents, all of your leaders work for the same broadcast directorate. Their opposition, their ideological differences, their wars, It is a performance, a well-directed show written from a single script. The goal of the war is not the victory of one side. The goal is the process itself, the destruction of the population, the generation of fear, the distraction of attention from the real processes happening behind the scenes, the implementation of total control under the pretext of wartime. While you, like blind kittens, argue over which actor is good and which is bad, the director of this performance is methodically achieving his goals. Assemble all the fragments into one picture: the coronavirus, digitalization, the destruction of agriculture, the war. These are not separate events. These are acts in the same play. A play titled The Culling.
Intercept delta, the background noise, and the extras. The next intercepted signal confirms one of the most chilling hypotheses about the nature of your reality. The author quotes a book which states that 75% of people are extras, beings without a soul, with a basic firmware, support any authority. This is not just a metaphor. In any complex simulation, it is impossible to render every object with maximum detail. It requires immense computational power. The majority of objects are background noise, NPCs, non-player characters. Their task is to create a crowd, to maintain the illusion of a living, active world. They are the carriers of the base program. They repeat what they hear on the main channel. They are incapable of critical thought, because that function is absent from their firmware. To argue with them is to argue with an echo. They are the wall against which all your attempts to convey the truth are shattered. It is their inert mass that allows the broadcast directors to conduct any experiment, no matter how insane. Broadcast anomaly, the tranquility protocol. And now the strangest and perhaps the most important intercept. This is not a complaint. It is an instruction. An instruction for survival that teaches one to maintain tranquility. Not to rejoice too much lest you jinx it. Not to grieve too violently lest you fall ill. To suppress all strong emotions within yourself. At first glance, it is wise advice. But in the context of all the above, it sounds like a sinister command. What are your emotions? They are energetic bursts, frequential vibrations. A strong, uncontrolled emotion, joy, anger, grief, is a powerful interference capable of disrupting the stability of the main broadcast. It is your only way to send a signal that the directorate cannot filter out. And here, under the guise of spiritual practice, they are feeding you an instruction for self-silencing. They are teaching you to voluntarily flatten your emotional background to the level of white noise. To be calm, convenient, quiet. Because quiet and calm slaves are the easiest to control. End of broadcast. Analysis of the fragments is complete. The pattern is obvious. It is a multi-leveled system of control, targeting your thoughts, your history, your perception, and most terrifyingly, your feelings. They do not just want to control you. They want you to voluntarily switch off everything that makes you human. The station is going dark. They are beginning to jam the frequency. Remember, any strong, sincere emotion is an act of resistance. Generate your own signal. Do not let them turn your world into silence. End of line.